morning, they're not well. So we will start the procedure with apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Chair. We have no apologies.
Do we have any disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest, please?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. So they're down then. So we'll go to Mr. Griffith now, who's our legal representative, who would explain to us the way things are going to be run this morning. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. There's a prescribed format for how the procedure will run. This is documented at agenda item 3, but I'll take you through it anyway. The Chair has opened the meeting and the members have declared any declaration of interest. Once I've completed the procedure, the licensing officer will present the report, and at that point, after the conclusion of that, the members of the committee will be entitled to ask questions of the licensing officer. If once those questions have concluded, then any other person may ask the licensing officer any questions should they so wish. The procedure then states that there'll be representations from responsible authorities and or other persons. Now, in the absence of any of those parties attending, the licensing officer will read out the representations that have been made. In view of the fact that there'll be no persons attending, then there will be limited opportunities for any questions to be asked. So no questions can be asked in respect of the representations, but they will be taken at face value. Once that's been concluded, the applicant through their advisor will then be invited to present their application for variation of a licence. And once that has been concluded, then the members of the committee will be entitled to ask questions of the applicant in respect of their application. In view of there being no other persons, then licensing officers at that point will be able to ask questions should they so wish. Once that's been concluded, then the closing submissions will be, the applicant will be able to make closing submissions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Griffith. We now go to the officer who will take us through the application.
Good morning. The application is for a variation to an existing premises licence under section 34 of the Licensing Act 2003. The premises is Lifestyle Express, 187 Middle Road, Gendros, Swansea, SA5 8EZ. The applicant is Kanakanayagam Tamil Kumar. And it's an application for a variation to premises license SJ 49941. An application to vary the existing premises license was received by the authority on the 5th of September 2022. The applicant has applied to allow the following licensable activity to take place. That is the supply of alcohol, off sales only, Monday to Sunday, 0700 hours till 2300 hours, and the opening hours are the same as the sale of alcohol, Monday to Sunday, 0700 hours to 2300 hours. Further to the application to vary and extend the supply times for alcohol, the applicant has offered modified conditions which can be found in section M of the application form. Section M is page 21 to 22 of the application, and the entire application form can be found at Appendix A, page 7 to 25. A copy of the current premises licence is attached at Appendix A1, which is page 26 to 33 of this report. Members will note that the times the current licence authorises the supply of alcohol are off sales Monday to Sunday, 0800 hours to 2100 hours, and again the opening times are the same, 700 hours to 2100 hours. The venue is situated on Middle Road to Kendros within a highly populated residential area. The location can be seen on map Appendix B, page 34. At the request of one person making a representation, the location of the road they live on has been identified, but not that of the exact address. The second person, since I produced the map, has indicated that they live in close proximity to the applicant's premises. The premises has a premises license since December 2011, allowing the off sales of alcohol. At that point, the premises license holder and designated premises supervisor were Rashid Aziz. However, in September 2022, the license was transferred by the current applicant into his name, with the DPS being Nirashana Suresh Kumar. The current conditions, which can be compared to those offered if the licensing subcommittee grants the variation as applied for, can be found at Appendix C, which are pages 35 to 37. The Licensing Act 2003 contains 4 licensing objectives, namely prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. Each of these objectives is of equal importance, and the application must demonstrate how they are to be promoted. Relevant representations have been received by other persons. The Appendix D1 is the representation made by Nikki, and that's on page 38 of this report, and Appendix D2 made by Rosaria, and that's on page 39. In considering this application, members should have regard to the current statement of licensing policy, and a link was included in this report. Members should have regard to the current parts, to the relevant parts of the current statutory guidance. The guidance is issued by the Home Secretary in April 2018, in particular, Introduction Chapter 1, Licensing Objectives Chapter 2, Application for a Premises Licence Chapter 8, Determining Applications Chapter 9, Conditions Attached to the Premises Licences Chapter 10, and Statement of Licensing Policy Chapter 14. And a link to the guidance was also contained in the report. Determining the application. The decision must be based on the individual merits of the application and the representations received, with a view to promoting the licensing objectives outlined in paragraph 5 of this report. In arriving at the decision, members should have regard to the relevant provisions of the policy and guidance as previously provided. Reasons must be provided for any departure from the policy or guidance. In reaching the decision, the committee must have regard to the representations and take such steps below, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. Grant the licence, subject to conditions that reflect the operating schedule, modified to such an extent that the authority considers appropriate for the promotion of licensing objectives, taking into account those proposed to be removed and replaced by the applicant at Appendix C, and any mandatory conditions relevant to the licence. B, exclude any of the licensable activities to which the application relates. C, refuse to specify the person in the licence as the premises supervisor. And D, reject the application. The licensing subcommittee's instructions are requested.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the officer, please?
Chair.
No? Okay. Is there any DPS actually on site? Do we know? Okay, we'll ask the applicant then.
the
Okay,
applicant.
I just wondered if you knew. Okay, thank you. So there are no questions other than that for the officer. So now we'll go then to the responsible authorities, and there are none. There are objections from other persons, but they've come in the form of emails, I believe. And I think you're going to be reading these out, is that right? So the officer will read out the objections as they've come in. Okay, thank you.
Appendix D1, that's page 38. An objection was received from Nikki on the 22nd of September this year, and the objection is as follows. Dear licensing team, I am emailing you in regard to the following application, which has been submitted by Kanakana Yagam Tamil Kuma to extend the sale times of alcohol from 0800 to 0700 hours and from 2100 hours to 2300 hours each day, and to modernise and increase the conditions attached to the licence. I would like to exercise my right to express my concern and objection as to the extension of selling alcohol at this premises. My reasons are outlined below. The premises is known locally to be in breach of its licence by selling alcohol and other products, nicotine, to underage children. There is no genuine reason as to why the hours are to be extended from 7 AM to 11 PM. The extended hours could potentially put those in vulnerable situations, for example, alcohol addiction, extended hours to purchase. The extended hours of sale of alcohol through the proposed times will attract unwanted attention, persons to the store in possibly an already intoxicated state. Please treat this as my formal objection, and he's included a postcode SA5 9EA. He's asked me to confirm receipt of the representation, which I did. A second representation, Appendix D2 on page 39, was received from Rosaria on 25th of September. Good morning. With this mail, I am confirming my disagreement regarding the Lifestyle Express shop changes requested. I will explain my points in order with your guidelines. Prevention of crime and disorder. In this area, there are already many vandalism activities, such as damage to private property. Like I had myself to pay a professional to get it sorted and install a ring camera and audio device, trying to discourage those acts. The entry to my house door obstructed by bicycles and scooters laying right outside my house pavement. Rubbish and glass from broken bottles, dangerous for both kids and dog walkers. Leave the shop open for late hours will keep the decaying situation. Public safety. Selling alcohol to late hours will only make the shop more of a meeting point to drink and make noise, easily taken into fights and public disorder. Prevention of public nuisance. The request of the shop owner shows a lack of respect for the neighbourhood, as being in a residential area after a certain hour should be living in quiet in the respect of the residents' working hours and habits. In my case, I have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to work, and I deserve some peace to rest like anybody else does. Protection of children from harm. Selling alcohol and having to the shop as meeting points for teenagers and adults give a bad example to the children who emulate those attitudes, like asking people to buy vape pen liquid. In the email, it was said that the parking issues won't be taken into consideration. That is still an obvious problem and it won't disappear by ignoring it. Thank you for your attention and work. I trust your judgment will lead to an appropriate decision. The person who submitted, the rep, provided no evidence that they were speaking on behalf of any other residents, so the 6 words at the end were deleted.
Okay. The shame is that these people have made here some lying accusations that we're not able to question them on. The only thing I would ask is, has anything, there's one of them, the first one, I think it's Nikki, is known locally to breach its licence by selling alcohol and other products to underage children.
Yeah.
Have you made inquiries into that?
I did. I searched our system and I contacted Trading Standards. They had received one anonymous complaint about the age-related sales. It wasn't to do with alcohol, and as it was anonymous, there was no substantiating evidence, and they weren't able to follow up the complaint. That was prior to the current applicant taking over the premises licence.
Thank you. Is there anything you're concerned?
No, thank you, Chair.
No? Okay, so now we go to the applicant, who will explain to us why he's asking for the alteration to his licence, okay?
Okay, hello. Yeah, hello everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, please carry on.
Yeah, reason I'm asking for the extension hour. Customers asking for it. The people are coming. I'll close at shop at 9 o'clock now, and people keep on coming. And people who work at late, and people who work at nights, they come in the morning, early hours, like as soon as we open the shop. Not everybody buy. Like 1 or 2 customers comes and ask for a bottle of wine. And I don't want to disappoint them, but I want to serve them. And the street drinkers or people who addicted to drinks, they have like a sip of wine in the morning and go to bed, who works at night. And summer is like I feel like I'm closing the shop early. Everybody complaining. So many neighbors, they saying, why are you closing the shop early? They need to go to the shop further down, like they go to work like 10-15 minutes to buy things, not only alcohol, everything. That's the reason I'm asking for like a full hours, and I'm not even thinking to open like till 11 o'clock every day, but I want my license till 11 o'clock.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
No. I've just got 1 or 2 things, if you could clarify, please. One thing that you said on here is regarding your DPS. I understand you've appointed a DPS and you're going to get somebody else trained up. So can you tell us, do they live actually on the premises?
No.
Kamal Kumar, if I can answer that, Chair, if I may, please. So at the moment, the designated premises supervisor is working there, but at the moment, we are in the process of changing the DPS. The application will go through. So just want to let you know the applicant will be the DPS from this week onwards.
Right, so someone with the authority to be able to pass drinks over the counter will be there at all times. This is something we have to be clear on, you see.
Yes. So it will be the applicant from now on, so as a DPS. And he's also the personal license holder now.
Thank you for that. Does anyone, do you have any questions for anyone?
Not from me, thank
No?
you, Chair. No.
Do the officers have any questions you'd like to put to anyone? Do either of you gentlemen have any questions you'd like to put to anyone in the hearing this morning? Is there anything you'd like to clarify with the officers?
Now, Chair, may I please add something further to what applicant said? So, Chair, I think, we put this application to extend the hours with the opening hours. And what I would like to address, Chair, I just wanted to quickly address the objections we received. As you already know, we don't have any objection from the authorities, and there were no complaints made since the applicant were, taken over this particular premises. There's an anonymous one is before the applicant taken over the premises. I'm just looking at, Appendix D1. You just wanted to address the objector, the points that they raised, and one of them said that the premises is known locally to be in breach of the licensing by selling alcohol and other product. This is, this is like is not evidenced. Yes, they say that, but there is nothing. It's an applicant has so much experience in terms of running a retail premises, in terms of promoting the licensing objectives, in terms of protecting the children from harm. So I think that is not been evidenced. And the second things they said, there's no genuine reasons, applicant clarified that, because even if you think about it, there are immediate neighbors on the both sides. None of them put an objections. But the thing is, some people come back from work after 9-10 p.m. and, they have to go to another shop, which is very close by, about 5 minutes walk, to purchase things. So that's one of the reason, applicant put these applications. So there is a genuine reasons, because this is the convenience store, as you know, Chair, locally the convenience store are generally expected, open until 11 p.m. So that's what people expect. And in terms of this particular objector, even if you look at, there are hundreds of houses in that area, it's a highly residential area. And that is what this shop is all about, serving the local customers. And the things, Chair, if you really look at, there's a houses opposite, at least about immediately 5-6, on the both side about 5-6, so at least about 25 residences, very close by. But then when we looked at it, we only have 1 and 2 extra, and we couldn't identify the other persons, where they live. But on the other hand, Nikki said that, live close by. So, this is minimal. It's only one person putting a representation. But saying that, their objections are really the points that they are raised is not really related to this premises, whether it is contributed, it's not been evidenced. And it's going through that, Chair, and the second D2, I'm just quickly looking at, there is crime and disorder taken place, and obviously the objector has to spend some money to put some CCTV cameras and things like that. Chair, nothing is not related to this particular premises, so putting it here, is really not right, I would say. And then they're going on to say, things like public safety, selling alcohol to late hours will only make shop more of a meeting point. It's not happening at the moment, right now, there is no evidence. There are not people not hanging around in that area. I was speaking to the applicant, only the youngsters, but they normally do, but, they all are school children, mostly. And then they're going on to say, prevents the shop owners of lack of respect to the neighborhood. Really, obviously this is the business for the neighborhood. Obviously, they are supporting it. And in terms of protection of children from harm, they mention about the vape. Obviously, we are here for alcohol. But on the other hand, the applicant is not selling any underage product to anyone underage. He had a strong system. And Chair, what I would like to say, we have updated the conditions on the license. to really address those concerns, in terms of promoting the licensing objectives, particularly promoting, production of children from harm objectives also. And, we have a challenge 25 and the refusal book, and we have staff training programs, and also with the experience, applicant himself is working more than 10-15 years, I think, in Tesco, and he got so much experience. So considering all of those, and he's also live locally, and it is a family business, and they will be running the premises responsibly, Chair. So that's what I would like to invite you to look at this application very positively and, grant as requested. Thank you, Chair. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Mr. Tanukuma, do you want to say something, please?
I mean, only one thing I want to say. Around my shop, there's so many houses. I don't know how many there, maybe thousands of houses there. I mean, there's only two people objective. Even this lady who gone around to ask for all the neighbors to do objection, but nobody did. Why they didn't do it? Because they want the shop to be open till late. And all the customers come and told me, this lady come and ask us to object it. We told the lady clearly we don't want, we want the shop to be open. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
One thing I'd just like to clear up. There's an allegation in one of the representations from somebody called Nikki regarding people turning up in an intoxicated state. We just want to know how you would handle that, please. If somebody turns up and they're drunk and they want to be served, would you serve them?
Why I want to serve them? Why I want to serve them? If they are drunk, then why I want to give them another drink? I have a strong policy not to give alcohol, to serve. Even people who come back like 3-4 times a day to buy same alcohol, we don't even serve. We tell them no. We can only serve once when they are okay.
Thank you. Thank you for answering my question. There don't appear to be any more questions. Now, you've summed up. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into recess now with our legal gentleman. And we're going to look at all the evidence and exactly what you've said today. We will be making a decision, and one of the officers will ring you within the next few days.
Thank you.
And tell you what the result is. Okay? Thank you so much for turning up.
Thank you.
Good luck.